Crimson Trace announces Link, the world's first wireless laser and white light system, combining a green laser and 300 lumen light with instinctive activation for AR-type rifles. Link, smart, simple, secure. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, examining the Department of Justice and ATF's final ruling banning bump stocks, the real impact gun control laws have had in Massachusetts, the ever-increasing danger of bears, new optics, and more. Plus, your comments, questions, and range reports and the latest news. And as always, call in to 866-TALK-GUN. And now, here's Tom Gresham.
So much to talk about today. Tom Gresham here. Our number 866-TALK, or Tom Talk Gun. Easiest for you just to remember it that way, Tom Talk Gun. Oh, yeah, bump stock ban. Let's see. Another court rules that the police have no legal duty to protect you. This was in the Florida school shooting, Parkland school shooting. We have reports from Massachusetts. We are looking at what's going on in New Jersey, where you now are guilty of a felony-level offense if you own an original magazine from a Glock 17 that you bought 25 or 30 years ago. Just a ton of things going on. And, of course, people are saying, what do I do with my bump stocks? They told me they were legal. What do I do? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a second. Also, of course, we'll be looking for your range reports. And also, if you are ready to buy, or maybe you already have purchased, a gun or accessories for Christmas, Hanukkah, or the holidays, would love to get those reports as well. Again, our number 866-TALK-GUN. By the way, always follow me on Twitter, where I'm giving out lots and lots of information. I link to all these news stories that we talk about here, so you can be the first informed if you're following me on Twitter. Okay? Very good. All right, let's talk bump stocks. You knew it was coming. President Trump announced there's going to be a ban on bump stocks. You're going to have 90 days. At the end of 90 days, you must have either destroyed your bump stock or you can turn it in. And, of course, these would be the same bump stocks that the ATF had said is perfectly legal for you to have. As you might expect, it didn't take very long for lawsuits to be filed. Joining me right now is Joshua Prince. He is attorney on one of the lawsuits that have been filed on this. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us here.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Tom.
All right. So if you would kind of capsulize what happened and how we got to where we are today.
So what occurred is on December 18th, we found a copy of the final ruling regarding bump stocks having been signed by purported acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. That was posted on ATF's website as well as on the Department of Justice website. At that point in time, we had already prepared a complaint for Firearms Policy Coalition, Firearms Policy Foundation, as well as some individual plaintiffs and Madison Society. So we filed immediately on the 18th. Now, what is important for your listeners to understand is, as of today, the final rule has not yet been published in the Federal Register. And not until it is published in the Federal Register does the 90-day clock start to run. As of right now, they have posted on the Federal Register that they intend, and this was on Friday, to publish it on the 26th, so December 26th, the day after Christmas. However, we now have a government shutdown. So we're not sure that it will actually get published in the Federal Register on December 26th, because if there is a government shutdown, generally speaking, nothing gets published in the Federal Register.
Well, isn't that just a can of worms? Okay, so for those who have not read it or haven't been online looking at this, what exactly does this ruling, I guess it's not really a law, but it's a pronouncement or ruling. What does it say? What does it require people who have bump stocks to do?
So it basically provides people who own bump stocks with 90 days from the date it is published in the Federal Register to either destroy their bump stock or to turn it into ATF at one of their local field offices. On ATF.gov, they have instructions for how you can actually destroy your bump stock. They want it cut in certain locations and certain amounts of material taken out so that it couldn't be easily put back together in any way, shape, or form. So that is probably the most common option that individuals will utilize, assuming this does become effective and people or wait until there's decisions from the court. And what I mean by that is we filed for a preliminary injunction already.
Right.
We have oral argument on January 11th in D.C., and we expect that the court would issue a decision on that preliminary injunction shortly thereafter, but clearly before the 90 days. So my advice to anyone who owns a bump stock is that they shouldn't take any action at this point. They shouldn't go and turn it in. They shouldn't cut it up. They should wait and try and determine what the courts are going to rule in this way, because they should rule within the 90-day period.
All right, so what's the basis of the lawsuit? I mean, a lot of people say, well, that's just not right, but that's really not a legal argument. So what are you putting forward?
So there's a number of arguments we have. The first and foremost is that the purported acting Attorney General, Matthew Whitaker, signed the rule of supposedly implementing it. The problem with that is there are very strong legal arguments that Matthew Whitaker is not lawfully the acting Attorney General. And we expect that, in all likelihood, the court will rule that he lacked the power to sign the final rule and therefore invalidate the final rule on those grounds.
Is that because he was not confirmed by the Senate?
Correct. There's a slew of issues. There is basically an Attorney General succession statute that deals with who becomes Attorney General if the Attorney General who was confirmed by the Senate is no longer Attorney General. And at this point in time, it looks like Rod Rosenstein would have lawfully, under that Attorney General succession statute, been the individual who did become or should have become Attorney General, except for President Trump's direction that Matthew Whitaker is now the Attorney General.
Okay, so that's first point. Where do we go from there? What's the next point on this?
So there's obviously a bunch of constitutional challenges that we've brought, everything from takings to ex post facto. But quite honestly, I don't expect the court to reach those, because there is a legal theory called the constitutional avoidance doctrine, where basically courts are not supposed to address the constitutionality of something if they can dismiss it or resolve the issue on other grounds. And we truly believe that when the court looks at all the violations that ATF committed during the administrative procedure of enacting this rulemaking, that they'll strike it down on those administrative grounds, such as one of the issues is under the Gun Control Act. It requires ATF to provide a public hearing if an entity requests such. Well, both Firearms Policy Coalition and Firearms Policy Foundation requested a hearing, and ATF never offered us an opportunity for that hearing. It also requires that there be a 90-day comment period. And as we documented in our complaint and even the comment we filed, there were a number of irregularities during the comment period that precluded individuals from being able to comment. In fact, if you went, as soon as it went up on March 29th, to the website that ATF had supposedly set up for submitting comments, it told you comment period closed. And it wasn't for about 4 days until that got corrected. So there are a number of individuals who were led to believe that the comment period had already closed and never had opportunities to submit comments. But even if we put all of those issues aside, the real true two issues are, one, that Congress has already statutorily defined.
Oh, I think we lost Joshua there.
Hold on.
I'll tell you what. Oh, there he is.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Joshua. You dropped out for just a second here. You said Congress has already what?
Has already defined what constitutes a machine gun in the Gun Control Act and the National Firearms Act. So ATF lacks the legal authority to be able to redefine what constitutes a machine gun. The second issue that we believe that the courts would find is very problematic for ATF is the fact that this is completely arbitrary and capricious, meaning what ATF is contending is absolutely ridiculous. And thankfully, John Patton of the Gun Collective had offered us a high-speed camera, and Adam Kraut with my office did a video showing him utilizing a bump stock device. And you can see that the bump stock is no different than any semi-automatic firearm. Every time the trigger has to reset before you can pull it again. and the bump stock does not turn a semi-automatic firearm into a machine gun.
Now, am I correct? Didn't the ATF has already ruled like years ago on bump stocks and said, yeah, this is okay, you can buy those. I know I'm not a lawyer. I didn't even watch enough, lawyer shows on TV to know. But there's a doctrine called estoppel, where if they say it's okay, they can't arrest you for doing what they said it's okay.
Yes, and so there are somewhere around 8 to 14 different letter rulings where ATF previously said that this was not a machine gun. In fact, the former acting firearms technology branch chief, Rick Vasquez, submitted a declaration for Firearms Policy Coalition stating that he was the individual, the chief in the firearms technology branch at the time the one bump stock came in. He analyzed it and found it did not constitute a machine gun, and he issued a declaration for purposes of our litigation stating that bump stocks are not machine guns. There
more
are
than that,
legal
thousands or hundreds of thousands of people who bought bump stocks got a copy of the letter from the ATF saying this was legal. That came with their bump stock.
Right, and ATF's argument is that they didn't provide enough legal analysis when they made the determination that a bump stock was not a machine gun in issuing those letter determinations. And their position is that at any point in time, they can rescind a letter determination, meaning they're meaningless.
So, we'll tell you it's okay to do it. You go ahead and do it. We'll come back later and say, actually, we were wrong, and now you're a criminal.
Exactly. And what's real interesting is they are trying to contend that bump stocks were always machine guns covered by the definition enacted by the Congress, yet they're still deciding to amend the definition to include language to include bump stocks. So their own argument contradicts their legal position.
Absolutely. Hey, Joshua, hold on a second. I need to take a quick break here, and this is just too good. We can't stop talking about this. We're talking right now with Joshua Prince. He's the attorney, filed a lawsuit challenging this bump stock ban. We'll get a little bit more detail when we come back. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Back with you. We're talking with Joshua Prince. He is the attorney of the firm that has filed the lawsuit against the federal government, trying to stop this bump stock ban. Joshua, one of the questions that people have been asking is, well, they told me I could buy it, and now they're saying I can't own it. Now they're saying I have to destroy it or turn it in. Are they going to pay me for it?
And unfortunately, ATF says they don't have to pay you anything for it because it was illegal from the date you purchased it, even though you relied on their own determination that said it was completely lawful.
All right, Kafka would be proud. I mean, we're going to tell you it's legal. Then once you bought it, and then years later, we're going to tell you it was illegal, even though we said it was legal. What are we as citizens supposed to take from this then?
Well, I think the important aspect is that ATF determination letters, in ATF's opinion, mean absolutely nothing, and they have no legal effect. That is the position that ATF is taking, and that is a very scary proposition for many in the industry who rely upon ATF determination letters to know whether products that they are manufacturing constitute firearms. If they do, what classification of firearm and things like that. More interestingly, ATF is also seemingly taking the position that they don't even legally have to notify any entity that they know is manufacturing an item, let me say, that ATF decides internally to reclassify. So ATF doesn't even believe they had to provide specific notice to entities that had submitted prior requests into ATF to determine whether or not their item, meaning a bump stock, constituted any type of firearm under the Gun Control Act or the National Firearms Act. They're just taking the position that they should know that ATF has reclassified it. We don't have to provide any due process.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the phrase, which just do it, and then we'll let you know if you've broken the law.
Pretty much. That is currently what ATF is doing. But even worse than that, they're now taking the position, we can tell you that what you did is lawful, and then later decide it's unlawful and prosecute you for it.
You sound pretty optimistic. I mean, I know I often hear that from attorneys with lawsuits, but you sound pretty darn optimistic on the outcome of this lawsuit.
I have a pretty good track record of suing the U.S. government and winning in especially cases of first impression. I've been very fortunate and successful in some Second Amendment as applied challenges. I have a knowledge set that allows me to really look at these issues, and I'm not one of those to blow smoke. I truly believe the first way the court is going to invalidate this is striking down the final rule based on Matthew Whitaker signing it. Now, whether the government will attempt to rectify that issue by having someone else sign it, such as Rod Rosenstein, I don't know. I think this current administration is going to dig in its heels and is going to say that it believes that Matthew Whitaker is properly the Attorney General and won't just have someone else execute it. So I think there may be a substantial delay in that. But even setting that issue aside, as I said, there are a number of violations of the Administrative Procedures Act that I believe the court will look to and will likely invalidate the rule on that. Now, that doesn't foreclose the government in correcting those issues and potentially enacting it again, but our hope is the fact that the government will see this as a fruitless endeavor that they're going to lose and just simply not take any further action regarding bump stocks. But only time will tell.
Which court is this lawsuit in?
In the District of Columbia.
Okay, so I'm just figuring out what the appeal process or the track is from there.
So it would go up to the circuit court for the District of Columbia and then to the U.S. Supreme Court. Basically the same track that D.C. v. Heller took.
Exactly. That's what we're just thinking. Coming right out of the same place that Heller did. Well, obviously keep us posted on this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted the listeners to know part of the reason why we filed in D.C. is because the district court there has a lot of familiarity with violations and issues regarding the Administrative Procedures Act. And quite honestly, there probably isn't a judiciary that is more well-informed of what is required by the Administrative Procedures Act and ensures that it's complied with. So that was a major reason why we elected to file there. And there have been good decisions out of D.C. in regards to Second Amendment. Now, we have not brought a Second Amendment count in this complaint, but there are a number of constitutional issues that generally the D.C. court is very good and apt to deal with.
Well, Joshua, I applaud you doing this. It sounds like it's in good hands, and keep us posted. We'll be checking in with you as this goes forward, and we'll be reporting on it. There are, as you know, hundreds of thousands of people who own these who are watching this, but also the entire Second Amendment community is watching this to see what happens.
Absolutely, and there's over 500,000 bump stocks out in circulation per ATF, so it's over 500,000 people that could stand to be affected by this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and, as I say, keep us posted, please.
Will do, Tom. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you. Joshua Prince. Do you own a bump stock? 866-TALK-GUN. Why'd you get it? What's your plan? Assuming this thing the lawsuit did not prevail, would you destroy it? Yeah, I know people are saying, well, there's going to be an awful lot of boating accidents. It fell out of my boat. And yeah, I know. But seriously, what would you do? Of course, the other question is, how do they know who has what? Well, I don't know. I'd be careful about that one. And also, if it becomes a felony-level offense, do you really want to take a chance on that? What's your plan if you own one of these? I'd love to know that as well. Also, coming out of the state of Florida, this is fascinating. Not surprising to anybody who's been listening to this show for a long time. Lawsuit filed on the Parkland shooting there. The court says, you know what? The cops have absolutely no duty to protect you or anyone else. We've known that. I've been telling you that. The courts consistently ruled the police do not have any obligation, no legal duty to protect you. They supposedly have a legal obligation to protect everyone, but not any particular person. Once again, making the point, you are on your own. When people say, well, you don't need to carry a gun, just call the police. Well, what if they don't come? What if either they can't come or they just choose not to, or they get busy or something. You can't hold them legally responsible, but more than that, who cares about the legal side of it? We're talking about your safety. And then, of course, Debbie Wasserman Schultz says, yeah, we're still not going to have teachers armed. Her idea is that, once the murderer gets into school, that's just going to be too bad. I'm sorry you have to sit there and die. But, of course, the cops have no legal duty to protect you. But at least I'm getting FaceTime on TV. 866-TALK-GUN. New products coming up when we come back. We'll be right back with more gun talk.
Good morning, Mr. Gresham. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to host a radio show that will bring truth and common sense to the discussion of firearms rights in this country. Good luck, Tom, to you and your Tom Gresham's Gun Talk team.
All right, welcome back to Gun Talk. 866-TALK-GUN is the magic number here if you'd like to be a part of this, if you'd like to share a story. Guns for Christmas. Good idea, bad idea? Guns for kids for Christmas. Ooh, that freaks people out. Not us. You understand? Not us. I pretty much most of my Christmases, I got a gun of some sort. Even if it was a play gun, later on real guns. And in our house, long gun boxes, generally they were long guns. I don't remember getting any gifts of handguns, but long gun boxes were pretty common to see under a Christmas tree or to show up when Santa arrived. BB guns, air guns, Red Riders, yeah, we did not shoot our eyes out. But, yeah, it's pretty standard. How about you? How did your Christmases go? Any guns involved there? It is a time, of course, for us to think about, giving and giving, maybe gifting things to ourselves. And along those lines, we like to find out what's new, what's cool, what's going on, what's out there. Joining me right now to talk about at least a little bit of that, Ryan Donahue joins us from Crimson Trace. Hey, Ryan, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Tom. It is an absolute pleasure. Well, it's morning here for me. I guess it's afternoon for you guys over there.
It is, as we go across the country. It's still morning on the west coast there in the state of Oregon where you are. So tell me, what's cooking at Crimson Trace? What have you guys been up to?
Well, I just wanted to tell you first, Tom, I was listening to you talking about the Christmas presents, and my wife's already got all of ours wrapped, and there's a long box under the Christmas tree. So I can't wait to find out what that is. Yes, sir.
Well, wait. So you're telling me you don't actually know what's in there?
I don't at all. So I have a very good wife. So we will see what's going to show up.
Holy cow. Well, I can't wait to find out as well because, there aren't a lot of wives who would take it upon themselves to buy a husband a gun of some sort and you not knowing what it is. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
here's a question.
She knows me pretty well, so we'll see.
Are you sure it's not one of... Maybe it's one of those where she gives it to you, but she really plans to take it for herself.
It could be. But that's fine. That's fine with me, too. I'm fine with that.
Well, very cool. All right, so what's going on with the folks from Laserland?
Yeah, so just real quick, let's start with some of the new laser stuff that's coming out. So right now, before I left work, the LS250 and the LS250G are ready to ship. They are a brand new laser saddle. And those are, if you think of a side saddle that goes on a shotgun. So this is a saddle that has the laser built in for the Mossberg 500, Mossberg 590, and most importantly, the Mossberg Shockwave, because of the unique way you shoot that gun. You can actually have the laser downrange put in targets accurately.
Okay, now describe, because I'm trying to figure out, this would go over the receiver, be attached to the receiver, and have the laser built in.
Yes, exactly. So it kind of, and it allows you still to use the Mesa Tactical and all the shell holders on the other side of the receiver, but it's like a saddle that sits over top of the receiver and has a laser on it, touch button activation on the right side, also has the ambi switch on there, available in red and green. So I had the opportunity to take that and demo it out. Actually, with your son, actually had shot it before with me. So it's
right. I think you're probably doing that for the Guns and Gear TV show.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, now, for those who don't know, the Shockwave is this short little, not shotgun, not a rifle, not a pistol. It's a thing. It's a firearm. You shoot it from the hip. And as such, if there was ever a gun that would benefit enormously from putting a laser on it, that's it. I mean, because when I first saw it, I thought, this thing has to have a laser for it to be really effective.
Yep, and Mossberg will be bundling one as well, and you can also pick it up from Crimson. And if you've ever shot that thing, Tom, which I'm sure you had, the Shockwave, it kind of has, when you put it by your waist, you kind of wind up pointing in an upward angle. So with the laser, you can find exactly where that muzzle is headed.
And I know people say, well, it's a shotgun. Or at least it shoots shotgun shells, and so you don't really need to aim it. And of course, anybody who's done any kind of close work with shotguns know what a fallacy that is. You know that you do have to aim them because your pattern is very small. At across the room distances, you're talking the size of a hand, and being able to aim it accurately is critical.
100%. And then also, I'm sure a whole bunch of people are going to have that very popular SIG 365 under their Christmas tree. We've been getting a lot of requests, so there will be a laser available for the SIG 365 for everybody.
Nice. Now, when is that going to be available?
I've seen a couple of the prototypes in the shop. I'm going to say it's probably going to be hitting the floors right after Christmas. So save your Christmas money and pick that up.
Yeah, a lot of people, including me and Jim here, our ears perked up, went, oh, yeah, because that would really make that a complete pack. Now, how's it going to be attached, and can we use our existing holsters, or we have to get a new holster?
So, as you know, we do work with most of the holster manufacturers. It is a very slim design, so the leather holsters and stuff, they should be perfectly fine. The plastic or the Kydex ones that are extremely tightly molded, you may have to buy a new holster. It is go around the trigger guard, just like always, and it's got the instinctive activation, so when you're pulling it out, you don't have to worry about turning it on. You grip it like normal, and that laser is ready to go.
Sweet. Hey, Ryan, can I get you to hold a second? I got to take a quick break here, and I know we've got some other cool new doodads to talk about. And also, I can't leave it out. We got to talk about the optics, because now that Crimson Trace is into the optics world, we got to talk about that. We'll be right back with Gun Talk. We're talking about Crimson Trace, cool things, and also looking for your calls, your comments, and your Christmas memories around guns and hunting. 866-TALK-GUN.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. GalleryofGuns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
We're talking with Ryan Donahue from Crimson Trace. You know them as the laser guys, lasers on handguns and then on rifles, Railmasters and shotguns and everything else, and also getting in big time into the optics world. Ryan, I interrupted you. I know you had a list of all kind of new cool things you're doing, so continue if you would, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I am most excited about is the sight and scope line that you touched on there, and it is a full line. So there are 5 sights and 11 scopes. So they are all available for order right now. We'll be shipping probably the end of December, January, and they are quite gorgeous. So my favorite, I'm a big 3-gun shooter, Tom. I shoot a lot of 3-gun. So my favorite in the scope line, we have 2 that have a pretty amazing reticle in it for what I do. They're a 1 to 5 and a 1 to 8. All of the scopes in the whole line are first focal plane. So what we were able to do with the 1 to 5 and 1 to 8 for tactical and competition shooters is bright red ring when you're looking in it at 1 power, little MOA dot right in the center. When you crank past 3, the big red ring disappears and your milling tree comes into focus because we're able to do some cool stuff with the first focal plane reticles. So for long-range shots, when I'm going out to 600-700 yards, now I have this gorgeous big mill tree with my red dot in the center, and when I'm doing close-up work, I have this red circle where I'm just putting it on the target and pulling the trigger.
With that big circle, and you're shooting it at 0 magnification, it's a 1x, you just glance, put it in the middle of the circle, pull the trigger, move to the next target, right?
100%. Yep, that's what I've been playing with it and bringing it to some of the matches, and people have been checking it out and have been pretty amazed at what we were able to do with that thing.
All right, since you're not just selling this stuff and making it, you're actually shooting it, and you're shooting it out at distance, there are people, and you know what I'm talking about, who are going to say a 1 to 8 power isn't nearly enough magnification to shoot anything at 600 yards.
And I can tell, I've been doing 3-gun for quite a while. I actually grew up in Florida, so doing it out there where it's big stretches of land. 600, you know what, to tell you the truth, I have the 1 to 8, and I don't even crank all the way to 8. If I'm going to shoot a 600-yard target, they're usually pretty big BCs out at that distance, but I will put it at about 6 power because what I find is moving from target to target, if you put it at that full 8, sometimes you can get lost.
You lose your field of view. Yeah, but and I can tell you from experience, I had a scope that went up to 14 power. I had a mule deer at about 330 yards, lasered, and cranked it up to 14 power. I'm still, fired the shot, turned out he was right behind some sagebrush. I hit him, but he took off running. At 14 power, there was no way I could find him. Could not find him in the scope after that.
Yep.
You know, we ended up getting him, but it was harder than it had to be, I guess, is the point.
Right. Yeah, that's something, you know, people have all that magnification. We have some ones that get out there 25 power and 28 power. But, you know, a lot of times when you're taking those shots, my suggestion from shooting competition and so long is don't use the full magnification because it allows you the visibility if the target moves to be able to move quickly with it.
Now, you mentioned that it's a sight and scope line, and people understand scopes, but you're not talking iron sights here. You're actually talking electronic sights, right?
Absolutely. So we have 3 open red dots, one for the pistol. That's the 1200. Popular mount, same as Vortex. It's the same mounting plate that they use as well. And then we have a 1300 and a 1400. The 1300 and the 1400 are designed for rifle and shotgun. The 1400's window is glorious and amazing. It's quite big, Tom. When you get a look at that thing, I run that on my PCC. So for that quick work with that, quite amazing. And then we have the CTS. Go ahead. Yep.
Let me jump in because I want to mention it. That setup that you're just describing would be perfect on a home defense shotgun or rifle, wouldn't it?
100%. Yeah, we have them in the office where when we go out and do testing, we mount them on the top of some of the Mossbergs on the rails, and it's perfect because you can shoot those both eyes opened. Just look through, and your eye is able to pick up the dot right on the shotgun.
Absolutely. All right, one more. Give us one more in the line before we have to let you go here.
Sure. So we have the 1000 and the 1200. Those are both. One of them is a battle sight 3.5 fixed magnification, and the 1000 is just a straight up red dot, closed red dot. And all of the scopes, Tom, just before I go, they are all no questions asked, lifetime warranty. And everything in the line is batteries for life, just like we've done with Crimson Trace in the past.
Okay, so even your sights and your scopes, batteries for life, you get a new set of batteries each year.
Yes, and all the tactical flashlight line that just came out too, all batteries for life.
Man, you guys are crazy busy. CrimsonTrace.com?
Yes, sir. Yeah, go check them all out.
Man, I've got lights. I mean, and the thing is, by the time every time I think I've caught up with you and I go check your website, there's something new there. I can't even keep up with you guys.
Well, you got 16 new sights and scopes to go check out there, Tom.
Sounds great. I'll see you guys in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show.
All right. Look forward to seeing you.
All right. Take care. Appreciate that, Ryan. You take care now. Yeah, in fact, I'll be doing the Gun Talk radio show. We'll be doing this show from their booth, the Crimson Trace booth. I bet they have new stuff when we get there for that as well. Yeah, the whole higher magnification for long-range shooting, yeah, it's one of those yes, but things. If you're shooting targets off of a bench, higher magnification is generally good as long as you have good optics. You can see better, you can aim more precisely. Bench rest shooters have proven that through the years. If you're moving and shooting, and whether it's in competition or it is a hunting situation, more magnification is not necessarily a good thing. Once you get past whatever your number is, 8, 9, 10. But when I see people carrying 16 up, scopes up to 16 or 20 power when they're hunting, I just wonder, have you actually flopped down on the ground and tried to shoot prone with that kind of magnification? Or and maybe they're saying, well, I don't turn it up that high. Okay, that's cool. But it's one of those deals, if you have that kind of magnification, before you use it for hunting, I would say try it and find out where the maximum that you can use when you're out of breath and all the rest of it. You may find that 8, 9 is where you need to be. Give it a try. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back. All right, straight to the phones, line 3. Let's go talk with John. John, you there?
Hey, Tom.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Well, with all the
with politicians going for gun control, and they're going to be invoking school shootings and especially Parkland. And I think it's really important that everybody understand and that they share the information that the Parkland Safety Commission that is made up of school administrators and parents of victims and law enforcement, the ones that have actually studied this, they just put out a draft recommendation asking that teachers be able to be armed if they so choose. And this is just like after Newtown when the school board debated, should we put one armed officer in every school or two?
Let me make sure that people understand what you're saying, because after the Parkland shooting in Florida, they formed a commission. It's made up of educators, of parents, and they looked at this really hard, and they've ended up voting 13-1 that teachers should be, in some form or fashion, be armed, whether it's a voluntary and they get the training and all the rest of the provisos that we always agree on. But they came out 13-1 in this commission to say, and yes, teachers should have guns because nothing else works once the bad guy's already in the school. Exactly.
And, and I've talked to you a bit before, but I was on campus during the Virginia Tech shooting. And, afterward, if you just listen to the news and everything and you feel like everybody is anti-gun from it. But, 13-1, they want this. And, instead we waste our time chasing gun control that's not going to make anybody safer. And we're just continuing to have these shootings because we're not doing the things that actually work.
And it is frustrating for those of us who look at this and say, everything you're proposing we have already tried, and they all fail. And what always seems to work is when somebody on the site shoots the murderer. When you shoot the murderer, you pretty much win the day. You stop this guy from shooting other people. Why is it that we want to tell these people, why is it that you want to move away from what works? Is it just because it makes them feel uncomfortable? What do you think?
Yeah, and, like this one state legislature was saying that, teachers need to just teach, and the police can't push their duties onto teachers. And, we don't live in a perfect world. So in this world, if you want to just teach, maybe you want to be able to defend your students too. And then you can just worry about teaching because you've got that peace of mind from training and preparedness.
Well, then we could say, the teachers should just teach. They shouldn't be required to actually clean up their classrooms, because that's just not teaching. That's nonsense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. Look, I got to scoot. I appreciate the call, sir. I'm as quickly as I can. Robert in Wasilla, Alaska, line 2. Robert, I got about 60 seconds. Dive in, please.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering if there was anything we could do as a gun shooting public to tell the government that we don't believe in these bans where if we own something, we have to destroy it, like the slide fire. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we already own it, why aren't we grandfathered in?
Because they say you're not. Actually, what they say is the moment you bought it, it was illegal and you were breaking the law, even though we told you it was legal at the time. I know it makes your head hurt, but that's the position of the government. They're saying that, okay, yes, we told you it was legal to buy the slide fire, the bump stocks, but now we've determined that we were wrong then, and you were foolish to depend upon our assurances that you were obeying the law. Therefore, you were actually breaking the law, and we're giving you a break right now and not throwing in jail at this moment. And no, of course, we're not going to grandfather you in because it's illegal in the first place. It just makes your head hurt. I appreciate the call, sir, but yeah, that's basically what we were getting. We had Joshua Prince on earlier. He's the attorney driving the lawsuit to stop this bump stock ban. We'll keep you posted on that. We have a ton of other stuff coming up. Some really interesting guests coming. We'll be talking about what's going on in Massachusetts, what's happening in New Jersey with a full magazine ban. And we're going to have a surprise guest who just texted me. We're going to pop up and wish us a Merry Christmas. You do not want to miss this.